All right, what's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo. Today is Stewie. Okay, this is a banger. All right, this is gonna be a banger video. I would like to draw attention to this comment. Okay, thanks for the comments, everyone. This is the most comments to views that I've ever gotten on a video yesterday on this Grim video. This one from Linus Svensson. I would like to see 2 maps from the same player, one high fragging and one low frags from the same CT position. You could figure out if he's just better one day or if it's down to how the enemy played. If it's possible, the same team to see if it's a read he did from the demo, etc. We're going to do this exact concept, okay? Today's video is going to be called Stewie versus Stewie. The 2 maps that we're going to be looking at here, Liquid versus Evil Geniuses at the same tournament. This is the nemesis of Liquid right now. This is the best team in North America, them or Furia. And they're the 2 teams that are causing people to talk about Liquid and talk about the potential for a roster change and stuff like that. So the map is Nuke. This is one of Stewie's worst maps on Liquid. We're going to look at the CT side here. One game where, so the one was from the grand final where he had a really, really bad performance here on Nuke. In the half, they got a total of, they actually got 9 rounds. They actually got 9 rounds on the CT side. He only had 6 kills here. 6 and 12, and on this one they ended up losing 8-7 on CT rounds, and Stewie had a 19 kill half from the same tournament at 7 days apart. Okay, so not much has changed. This is a fantastic idea. Thank you so much for the idea. I haven't watched these demos yet. Both of us, we don't know. Okay, me and you, we don't know what's going to happen in these games. We want to just watch and find out. To preface all of this, I just want to say some of the conversation here with Stewie, is about, what's dragging Team Liquid down is a big question. How can a team have so much talent and still lose? Here is some insight. I didn't read all of this. So I don't know if it's, well written or not. But just to look at just to put my ear to the ground and hear what some of the conversations are about in the community. I totally understand it. To me, it's also a question mark. My guess, if anybody cares, okay, what we know so far is that this Liquid team was incredible. They had the Grand Slam run. When Stewie joined the team, they improved to the #1 position in the world. They looked unstoppable. They were talked about as a team with the most talent of all time in terms of individual players. And then right before the major, they started to fall off. Straws picked up another major, and they never recovered for the rest of the year. Fast forward, Nitro's dropped from the team for having maybe middling performances, maybe wanted to move on. Grim is picked up, is a clear firepower upgrade from Nitro. Stewie starts calling, even though he was actually already calling for months by that point. And suddenly, Liquid are now more up in question than they kind of ever were, even though they got a clear power upgrade and didn't really change anything from a calling front. So there's a lot of questions, and I haven't myself, looked at these. If I was in this TeamSpeak watching their games, you'd be able to learn in a second what's wrong here. It'd be much more clear. But we don't have that kind of access. All I can say is my hypothesis. I played with Stewie for a short period of time, and knowing him as a player, like how I think he became an IGL is because he's like a natural leader. He was playing on my team when I was calling, and he was one of those players who'd have just a great idea once every few rounds, and you just listen, and you could call the whole round flawlessly, but he'd never step on your toes if you were calling in the first place. But I think probably what happened on Liquid was he was just a bigger voice, probably stepped into taking more of the calling naturally because he was a natural IGL, whereas I think Nitro's a great IGL. I just don't think Nitro ever really loved it. I mean, I think he said that he doesn't like it, which is fine. I mean, every IGLing has got to be the hardest job with the least thanks. But him and Elige have been doing most of the talking, at least since what we heard on the Blast comms in London. We heard that it was mostly Stewie and Elige doing most of the calling at that point already. So what is holding Liquid back? Well, for me, the only thing that I could assume, the only thing that I can assume it may be, is that it has to do more with the calling than it does the individual performances. When people are talking about Stewie's individual performances like they're a huge deal, I don't see giant red flags. He did have that Cologne final. He did have a really bad kind of performance overall. But I mean, in terms of fluctuations here, I mean, we're not looking at that big of a discrepancy between, you know, his higher end and his lower end right now. We see in different performance, but we also see a clear individual skill upgrade in Grim. I just don't, it's just his stats are not bad enough that I can look at this and say, you know, really looking at all of the matches overall, that like him slumping or maybe even giving up a little bit of space so that other people can frag can really be the reason that Liquid are losing or not being the best team in North America. To me, it just doesn't make sense. That just does not compute to me. If EG can get away with having Stanislaw, who no one would say has more individual talent than any of his teammates or any of the players on Liquid, he still plays, I mean, he plays really well, don't get me wrong, but in terms of individual performance, right, no one's going to argue that Stanislaw is like this like individual god on the team. It's his calling that is helping the team get to the level that they're at. Then to me, that's the answer right there. That is the calling on Liquid that is lacking more than the individual level. It just doesn't make sense to me that it would be an individual issue. But hey, you might disagree with that. If you'd like to argue otherwise, go ahead, let me know. But I think that, you know, one of the strengths of EG, and it also is just that the teams are so good, right? Like EG have always had a better map pool versus Astralis than Liquid have, for example. Always. Liquid were giving up a free map in every single best of 3 they played versus Astralis. Basically every single time they played. They had to get lucky on the third map to pull out any wins. EG were doing way better. They had some winning records versus Astralis on certain maps. It was kind of just a matter of time with all of their really developed maps with the talent to get to a certain level that this team would actually see consistent, you know, performances are now like at this level. So it's like, you know, we can have criticism for Liquid. We also got to recognize that the competition is as fierce as ever. And when you're talking about talent, I mean, you know, you cannot, I mean, like the players on Evil Geniuses are absolutely unbelievable as well. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at this map here just to take a look at Stewie's position and his individual performances. And, you know, to keep it talkable, I want to have this conversation about Stewie as an IGL and, you know, the conversation of IGLing versus individual performances, and look at his CT sides here in these two EG versus Liquid games. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm super excited to look at this. I don't know what I'm going to expect. And again, this is the 19 kill half 115 ADR map earlier on in the tournament where they played off against EG at ESL 1 Cologne. So hopefully everything's all good. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened on the CT side for things to go so well. And then tomorrow we'll look at the bad performance and see if there are differences between the way that Stewie played, the way that EG played versus Stewie. And, you know, we've already looked at actually Henny versus EG's T side earlier in the week, if you guys were here for that. And I think that's also interesting. So we have some ideas already about how EG are playing recently on Nuke on their T side. And we're seeing, of course, Stewie here at the ramp with Grim. Doubled up. He's been playing a couple of spots with Grim. We saw him at B on Inferno with him yesterday. And Grim's worst map was the title of the video. We can see the red from the players crossing. Stewie's rotating lower, and there's so many footsteps here. I think he actually was thinking about getting to the back of the site, but canceled it when he heard all the footsteps. Oh, here he is actually just looking for the fight. It's a bit risky for Stu because he puts himself in a position where he's, you know, he needs to win his duel. He doesn't really have a place to fall back to, and that decon door can open. And maybe there's a spot where, sorry about the flickering. I think this goes away, but I think there's a spot where Stewie actually has a perfectly fine position, and not even sure why he decided to move with his teammates behind him. But we're back out to ramp. Player goes downstairs. EG pick up the pistol, of course. And Stewie keeping awake with his crosshair. He does this thing where he bumps his crosshair up and down on angles. One can only assume it's just to stay awake, basically, so you just don't like stare at a blank picture and not move. We see some shots getting traded outside and a lost round, and we see now the rotation in through the hut. A very common adjustment on the CT side, of course, to take hut control when you have upstairs or heaven compromised or outside compromised. Now they're all pushing in. Stewie just wants to see if he gets a kill first. EG's thought to make a decision, but they don't know where the extra player was, so they don't want to just run downstairs for no reason. It looks like ooh, a little Tarek crouch. We talked about Tarek crouching. We're going to do another. We're also going to do the Tarek crouch video as well. At the end of this, I'll show you what videos that we've done. I'll pull up the spreadsheet and show you what videos are going to be coming out. I'm going to be traveling for like, it could be potentially a month and a half straight. So I'm actually recording like potentially like 60 videos in the next 15 days to make sure that like we can do a video every single day. So there's going to be a lot of content that I talk about that's recorded that's not coming out for a long time. So we'll see. For those of you who are new, of course, these videos are done with the fake POV mod. The tutorial for how to do this is on my side channel. And it's done. We're doing these with X-ray off. The most important part of everything, of course, is the team radar. So we kind of have just as much, a little bit less information than Stewie has because he's got his teammate comms. Nuke can be a difficult map to read, but because we don't have to actually focus on Stewie's crosshair, we get to cheat and look at the radar a lot more. And any information that his team gets, if a player gets spotted, we can see it on the radar as well. So far, no real free kills for Stewie. No eco farming. First gun rounds. And this is, you know, overall not a very great half here for EG. So there's a potential, or not a great half here for Liquid. So there's a potential that Stewie's avoided and some of the kills are exit frags. Let's hope that's not the case. You can see the pre-aims, and when outside's compromised like this, or someone could have dropped vents, it's great to have a teammate on ramp with you so you can watch for the lurks. This is a stressful time to come down lower because they can be anywhere, and it looks like, yeah, it is in the control window. Stewie doesn't force the issue, but there's only 3 up from EG, so no sense sacrificing a piece to go for a 50-50 duel. Play it together for the retake. And they recognize that EG are probably in a position where they want to push, so they start to peel back a bit. And there's one on the ramp. Hunting down one remaining player. Stewie not even here to take that fight on Stan's terms. And oops, we'll allow Nafly go ahead and grab the op shot. Pretty standard stuff. Only thing to note there is when a team is low numbers and you're going for a retake, expect them to, you know, flash peek or push when you're setting up, because they can't sit in the site versus a team that knows all the retake grenades and expect to win standard, you know, 3-on-4. It's a crack spot here for Stu. Try to get some info. I don't know if there's been a rotation downstairs, so there's a number of options here. If EG have gone outside or if they've just thrown smokes, they need lower to be taken care of, and they need some kind of information back. So it'll be this time, instead of going lower, they're just going to try to get hut control, and if they kill anybody here, they know, well, they have more info on what this is going to be. Oh my god, both players die. It's actually a rotate back into lobby. That would have been perfect if they had got there 1 second before. The timing's just off. The smoke lands on a player entering and they both die. Okay. Couple of unfortunate situations. That's one outside cooked. Just like that, it's already down to a 2v1. It was just a fast attack on the outside, and Stewie again. He's just got to watch for lurkers. It's pretty much, you know, your whole job on ramp is to watch for a guy who they're trying to coordinate with, who's got downstairs, who's got through secret on a timing. Unfortunately, on Nuke, you play on very, very limited information all the time on CT side, especially when the smokes go down and you're not playing in secret or watching the cross. You can only be kind of sure about some things, and it's very common for T's to just like walk up the ramp, for example, and try to fight you. So Stewie's not here to duel. Well, they're going down fast, but this could be a nade to blow open the door. I mean, it seems like he's downstairs. He could have easily go back upstairs if he wanted to. But now they're just assuming he's looking to push to get a kill, and they're holding in spots that are relatively safe. All right, well, that's the best case situation, I think, for the CTs. But they're also both very low. Okay, Snake gets caught off. Just kind of just well, oh, whoops, keep hitting the wrong F keys. Kind of just well played from both sides. They're technically gambling to play the 2v1, like the 2v1 both going downstairs, but it's a gamble in itself to play 1-1, one upstairs, one downstairs, and hedge your bets. Because if you give a player with 100 HP two 1v1s versus two players who have 1 HP, then you have a much higher chance of losing the round. Or maybe not much higher, but I think most would say higher. Of course, just like everything else can be circumstantial. Never hurts to have a buddy system is what I'm trying to say. Well, that's one up's already into heaven. Ethan was kind of waiting on that. Stewie's still got to be worried about a lurk, I'm sure. They don't know that hut's clean, do they? Oh. So instead of taking that head on, he's looking for some information. And that guy sounded like he is coming back to the lobby. Oh my god. I don't even know how that happened. Cirque was just sitting in squeaky the whole time, or his Stu did not even make any noise. Okay, this will take one hell of a comeback. Oof. Alright, good night. Now, compared to some of the other games we've watched, like, we're actually watching a half where I think a lot of kills come, but the aim doesn't look incredible for Stewie right now. There was one fight he took in lower, the spray didn't look great. There was one that, there's definitely been some shots missed. The weirdest part about Stewie is just he's not really looked at as an individual player anymore, which is so strange because, like, okay, hold on, it's a 1v3. Oh my god, what just happened? Almost that. Shroud would have won that. Shroud would have won that 100%. It's a good try. Okay, the aim looks a little bit better. But it's kind of nuts to not think about Stewie as an individual. So that's a sick... Actually, Alexi B just made a little tutorial on that hot Molotov. You throw it inside the door in the hinge, and you can run through. And when you're inside of the lobby, it sounds like, of course, that you're. It sounds like, of course, that they mollied hut, and you run through it, and everyone's pissed at you. But it's weird. It's weird to not think about that. Everybody hates Stewie, right? Okay. Well, that's starting to make a whole lot more sense. It's a 4K spray down versus rifles. That's just sick. He says it's closed. All right. Well, that's nice. Can't wait to see what we see tomorrow. That spray, no kills, one tap by Tarek. Crouch peeking under the box. But yeah, are there other examples of players that have been like basically picked up, notorious rise to pro by being Pugstar individuals that are now on winning teams that are now like support players or IGLs? Like when does that happen? I mean, if you ask him, even when Cloud9 were doing their Boston runs too, he said he was playing, he viewed himself as a support player. Oh, that's a great flash. Okay, let's walk out player dead. Good enough with the other two that Elise got. I think we saw one cross secret already. Tro windows busted out. Stewie. Oh, nice little peek. That's kind of what he did before too. When the Molotov comes out, he's like looking for the fight. But if no one's there, he doesn't dive into the site. Ooh, chance to get off. Yeah, you just got to really hold that spray down, honestly. And hope they miss. That works. Don't think they'll be rushing ramp anytime soon. But they've taken outside, and, you know, anything can happen when outside control is taken with this much time left over. So Stewie's found a good round to push into lobby. The 2 times he's done this before, he's gotten close, but not gotten a kill. Got killed from Cirque and Squeaky. Got killed from the outside player walking in. Awkward timings. And now he's already downstairs looking for this control room kill. Now we'll walk towards Xantares. In a better spot than he was on a couple of these other rounds versus the lower hits. Much more dedicated. But he's actually worried about ramp as well, which is interesting. Decon open, and so we look to shoot feet. That'll be successful. And it'll actually fall. Whoa. Kind of out into the open, but it's actually got him a... Yeah, he caught Tarek off guard, not expecting Stewie to be down there. Doesn't want to get pre-fired or spammed through the floor. It's a brave play to make, but with the smoke down, he didn't have to worry about being shot from decon. And I think that's a really important thing that, like... That just, you know, makes a quality play, is being able to create cover out of something that wasn't meant to be cover. Kind of like manufacturing cover, I guess would be a good way to put it. Like using the unique circumstances to allow yourself to get kills. Being resourceful, I guess. Being industrious. No, with this control door open, they're actually forced to peek in. Oh my god. Oh. Wow. All right. Well, that was interesting for a few reasons. First of all, a couple of unbelievable rounds on rifle rounds with the 4K spray downs. Literally one 4K spray down ramp, one on lower like that. The cool thing about blowing open the control door like he did was that they can't go So the protocols when you go down lower is go down the stairs, clear the wall to your right, and then go up the control stairs and then look through the window, like we saw Cirque throw the Molotov into ramp, and then take control of that area, take control of control. But with the doors blown open, normally T's don't even open the door. That's why you actually see sometimes Tarek will sit on the other side of control doors, wait to hear the footsteps, and then open the doors as they're looking to clear that close right corner, and then he'll shoot them in the back. And it's like a gimmick play, but it works really well because that's just like the standard protocol. So the door blown open, Stewie's like, you have to fight me. So he knows that if they're going lower, they'll literally have to peek into that door to take any kind of control of control. So quite like that, Nate, honestly. Might try to use something like that. That was interesting. And yeah, so we'll have to see tomorrow now when we look at this kind of worst map, what's going on between, and this is from the finals, where Stewie just had he just had a poor series across this finals. And I think this is where he just said, I just fucking suck or something. Like his confidence is low. Yeah, I mean, in terms of kills, like, just it was just rough. Like I could definitely say, in this final, that of course anything in the ADR in the 60s is going to be a huge reason why you lose. It's funny because you look at this and like, not even everybody here. It's across 5 maps, which is just brutal, of course. So take that with a grain of salt. Like maintaining such a high ADR is crazy. Like, this was an unbelievable series for Elige. It was just contrasted with this performance. But I mean, are we looking at so many clutches? Because it feels like the kills are much higher on average here for. Look, I know, yeah. This is a series that, yeah, individual performance definitely could be pointed to as like a reason why they lost. But in general, I'm really feeling like if, let's say you had, like, I feel like if you had, let's say you didn't pick up Grim, or let's say as a thought experiment, you had Art instead of Stewie. You have an IGL and an Opper and then your riflers. Like, I think the argument that, Liquid could do with an Opper and a more dedicated IGL is a good one. Like, I actually see that. Like, that makes sense to me. I really feel like Stewie, the reason that Stewie is such a natural IGL, at least from what I know about him, is that the one thing he just has a knack for is being able to know what site to go to. Like plain and simple, his mid-rounding was really good. He knew when it was good to go A, he knew when it was good to go B. It's kind of all the other stuff around that I don't know as much about, that I question, that I probably have more faith in someone like Stanislaw, who I feel like has a better, more detailed painting for how all of the maps should go. And I look at EG's CT side on Inferno, I see tons of thought behind it. If someone try to contrast Liquid and FaZe, and I kind of see that comparison where it's the talent but looser. But it seems like EG have a situation where they've got the talent and a bit more structure and better results. So kind of interesting to look more into this. Both EG, we spent a lot of time on the other side of the glass looking at EG and their performances. It'll be cool to go a bit more in depth on EG in the future in some of these demos. I might just have like an EG week or something. We look at 5 different perspectives on one map, or a player on 5 different maps, or something cool like that. Like, we can do whatever. If you have ideas you want to put in there, these are the demos I'm writing down. These are things I got from the comments for players I should look up that you guys want to talk about. These are the demos that I'm recording now. I'm going to fill this up with more ideas, and I'm basically looking for comments that are like this, player, half, side, match, whatever. And then I can just plug these in and just knock them all out. So yeah, I read every comment. I went through last night, I read almost like 1,000 comments, which blows my fucking mind. And yeah. And again, keeping the videos ad-free, which I'm going to do in the meantime. I've just got a Patreon where you can, if you want to contribute, it's $1. You don't have to, of course, but if you want to, it's $1. I'll keep the videos ad-free. And, maybe in the future when these videos are huge, and if they do ever get to that point, then I'll, consider doing something where there's more monetization on the videos. But right now it's like, for a few thousand views, I don't want to bother anybody with ads. It's not going to make that much money. So yeah, that was Stewie, and I'll see you back here for Stewie versus Stewie Part 2, the bad performance, tomorrow. Thanks for chilling, everybody.